What's going on, guys? Today we're going to be going over my predictions and breakdowns for the upcoming UFC fight night, Henry Cejudo versus Song Yadong. A lot of good fights on this card. Let's get straight into it. First fight on the card, Modestas Bukauskas versus Rafael Cerqueira. Cerqueira looked really good on the regional scene, but it was a bunch of cans, and in his UFC debut against Ibo Aslan, he looked terrible. He got hit with one punch and just shelled up and took defeat. And Bukauskas, I originally was going to go with Cerqueira, but I don't know, man. I just don't know if he's ready for the UFC or if he'll ever be ready for the UFC. Bukowskis has shown that he's UFC worthy. He's not the best, but he's technical for the light heavyweight division. And even though he doesn't really have any power or he doesn't really have a chin either, I just think he's better than Rafael Cerqueira, and technique beats power most of the time. So I'm gonna have to go with Modestas Bukowskis to beat Rafael Cerqueira via a unanimous decision. Could Rafael Cerqueira just like maybe that was just a one-off performance against Ibo Aslan, and he actually is pretty good, and he just goes out there and chins Bukowskis. 100% that could happen, but I don't know. Bukowskis is technical. He survived the first round against Khalil Roundtree, and he in his last fight he submitted Marcin Prachnio. So he's clearly UFC worthy, and I don't think Rafael Sequeira is. So yeah, I'm gonna go Modestas Bukowskis. Let's move on to the next fight. Nursultan Ruziboyev versus Eric Makoniko. I'm going to go with Nursultan Ruziboyev via a first round TKO. Eric Makoniko looks like a corner man, and Nursultan Ruziboyev has actually looked pretty good so far in the UFC. Started off his debut against Bruno Fajeda, who was 10-0 at the time, and he slept Bruno Fajeda in the first round. Pretty impressive, took his 0. And then Sendrikas Dumas was like 9-1 at the time, I believe, and he KO'd him in the first round as well. So yeah, I mean, two first round TKOs over some pretty not terrible opponents in the unranked area of middleweight. If he just like beat them by like close decision or like didn't look great, then it'd be different. But the way that he just like smoked them both in the first round, that's a lot different. That shows that he's levels above. And his only loss in the UFC is to Joaquin Buckley at welterweight. I don't know why this 6'5" fucking dude was ever cutting down to welterweight. So obviously Buckley was the pick there. I'm telling you right now, it would have been different at middleweight. But yeah, Ruziboyev is a lot better at middleweight. He's not draining himself, and this is a middleweight fight, so I'm gonna go with Ruziboyev. He's super dangerous, and he even has a submission game. He has more submissions than he has knockouts. I think he has like 20 submission wins or something. Um, 99% of them are against cans, but like still 20 submission wins in the professional MMA scene is pretty impressive. So you got to take that into account. But yeah, I'm gonna go with Nursultan Ruziboyev to get this one done via a first round TKO over the corner man Eric Makoniko. Let's move on to the next fight. Austin Vanderford versus Nikolai Veretnikov. I'm going to go with Veretnikov via a first round TKO. I just think he's levels above. He's already debuted in the UFC. Vanderford is a debutant. And Veretnikov, his only loss in the UFC, well, he's only had one fight in the UFC. He lost his debut to Danny Barlow by split decision. And Danny Barlow is a pretty promising up and comer. He's undefeated right now, and he looks very good. So, yeah, Danny Barlow by split decision. That's a pretty good look. And his only other loss in professional MMA was in a different promotion, or on the Contender Series, actually, I believe, against Michael Morales, who's like a very high level welterweight contender. So yeah, I don't know. Nikolai Veretnikov, he just seems levels above Austin Vanderford, who's already losing on the regional scene, already losing, in lower level competitions, already losing to lower level names. And I don't know. I just think Nikolai's going to get him out of there. He's dangerous. And I just think the skill difference is going to really show here. So yeah, give me Nikolai Veretnikov, first round TKO. Let's move on to the next fight. Mansour Abdul Malik versus Nick Klein. This is a bit of a layup for Mansour Abdul Malik. I'm going to be picking him in this fight. I really wanted to put him as a confident pick, but I don't know, man. He doesn't look like amazing. Like he doesn't look elite, but he does look good, and he is undefeated, and he is a prospect, and he's winning these fights dominantly by finish. So I don't know, man. And Nick Klein, he's looked all right, but I don't think it's going to be enough to beat Mansour Abdul Malik. I think he's going to get him out of there in the second round. I think the first round, Nick Klein can kind of get some wrestling going, and I think he will kind of impress people with his takedowns, with his ground game against Mansour Abdul Malik. But in the end, Abdul Malik is going to find the KO, or he's just going to win however way he can. He's just better than Nick Klein, more proven, more experienced. And yeah, Mansour Abdul Malik is going to take this one via a second round TKO. I honestly could see if Nick Klein like plays it safe and just like focuses on the defense, times his takedowns right, and gets him down. I could see a world where Nick Klein gets this done, but I don't know. I feel like that's too much of a risky pick because Mansour Abdul Malik, he seems to have crazy power. He's got a lot of knockouts, and I could see him knocking out Nick Klein, who's already has a loss on his resume, and that loss coming by way of knockout. So I don't know, man. He's already been knocked out before. I could see Mansoor doing it twice. So yeah, Mansoor Abdulmalik is the pick here. Let's move on to the next fight. Ricky Simone versus Javid Basharat. I'm gonna go with Ricky Simone via a decision as an underdog. I don't know, man. I'm not impressed with Javid Basharat. He hasn't looked amazing in his performances. He lost his last fight. He was undefeated, but lost his last fight to lose his zero against Ayman Zahabi. And Ayman Zahabi, I mean, he's all right. Um, like he's not amazing, but he's not like bad. Ricky Simone is probably a similar. Ricky Simone is probably a similar level or better than Ayman Zahabi. And I don't know. I just don't see Javid Basharat getting this one done. Could he? Obviously. Javid Basharat is pretty good. He's an up and comer. He could obviously improve. And Ricky Simone seems to be on a downward spiral, losing his last three fights in a row. But look at who he's losing to: Song Yadong, Mario Batista, Vinicius Oliveira. All of those guys would comfortably beat Javid Basharat and just school him and outclass him. Like, and I don't want to hear otherwise. Fucking Song Yadong would finish Javid. Mario Batista would just like smudge him in 30-27 and outpace him. And Vinicius Oliveira probably finishes him late too. Fucking Ricky Simone, like, and Ricky Simone was handing in with those guys. It's the output that makes Ricky Simone lose fights. Because like Ricky Simone, he'll be doing good early, and then he'll just like the output will just drop off a cliff. But I think this is a fight where he doesn't have to worry about any power. Javid Basharat cannot inflict damage on a fly. This guy has no power, and like Ricky Simone's not really gonna have to be worried about too much of a takedown threat. Like Javid Basharat's grappling is good, but it's not like some overwhelming crazy pace that he puts on these guys with his grappling. Like he's not just taking these guys down and dominating them. I think Ricky Simone will be able to explode up pretty quick from any takedowns that Javid gets. And I think he's just going to defend most of the takedowns anyways, and probably even get takedowns of his own. I could see Ricky Simone taking down Javid Basharat and kind of holding him there. And on the feet, man, Javid, he's going to be landing more. He's probably going to be a bit quicker, a bit more technical with his approach. But dude, I know what I said earlier in the Modestus fight about technique beating power most of the time. I don't think this is one of those times because Javid Basharat has no power. None. Ricky Simone is going to be able to get the output going without having to be worried about anything. He's going to be able to get in on the inside. He's going to be able to fucking land some big bombs. And when Ricky Simone gets in and like lands, he can crack, man. And we've seen Javid get hurt and rocked and wobbled by guys like fucking Ayman Zahabi. Like Ayman Zahabi does not hit harder than Ricky Simone. Like I could honestly see Ricky Simone KOing Javid Basharat. Am I gonna pick him by that? No, because that's a lot to ask for from Ricky Simone. I'm just worried about his output in this fight. I'm just worried that he's gonna just freeze up and not throw much, which will lose him the fight. But I think he can outdamage Javid Basharat in 2 out of the 3 rounds and defend the takedowns. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Ricky Simone. Let's move on to the next fight. Andre Fili versus Melquizel Costa. I'm going to go with Andre Fili in this one simply because of the experience. Costa just hasn't seen the best of the best. Andre Fili's been in there with some good guys, and I know he's lost to a lot of them, but he's also beaten a bunch of them. He beat Cub Swanson in his last fight. That's impressive to me, man. Cub Swanson is still beating a lot of these guys, and the fact that Fili was able to do enough in the judges' eyes, that's impressive. Even though some people say Cub Swanson should have won that, it was very close. In my opinion, Andre Fili took it very slightly, very close. Um, Man, it was a great fight though, and Fili showed out. He's got great boxing. He's rangy, 74-inch reach in the featherweight division. That's impressive. And man, I think his boxing and his experience is going to cause a lot of problems for Costa, who hasn't looked amazing in his UFC career so far. He's 2-2. Lost to Tiago Moises in his debut by rear naked choke in round two. Then beat Austin Lingo by decision. Then gets KO'd by Steve Garcia. And then in his most recent fight, Nurden he submits him in round three. I don't know, man. I don't know if he has it in him to beat an Andre Fili. The pressure, the willingness to just scrap, the boxing. Andre Fili has sneaky power. He can find ways to win rounds. He's got that experience. He knows what to do. And there's certain moments in the octagon that just call for experience, and Fili's gonna have that over Costa. And I think that's what's ultimately gonna win him this fight. So, yeah, give me Andre Fili by decision. I like his boxing and I like his experience. I just like Andre Fili, man. He's one of my favorite fighters. Super fun guy to watch. Always puts on a great fight. This should be a very interesting matchup. I will say Costa is probably going to be a little bit faster and have the better kicking arsenal. But the way Andre Fili boxes with the pressure, the pace, the volume, I just think he's going to be able to outwork Costa. And Costa's kicking game is not going to be enough. And he's not going to be able to box with Fili. His boxing is not at that level. And I don't see him just taking down Fili and out grappling him for 3 rounds and submitting him. I just don't see that. I think Fili can reverse positions if he gets taken down, defend some takedowns. You know, Fili's not terrible on the ground either. I'm going Andre Fili, man. I just think he's going to beat Costa. I think he's better. So yeah, give me Andre Philly by decision. Let's move on to the next fight. Ibo Aslan versus Ion Cutelaba. I'm gonna go with Ibo Aslan by first round TKO. This is a lock. This one's pretty obvious. Ibo should win this. Ion Cutelaba, he's not terrible, but like he's not that good. And his fight IQ is horrible. He's retarded. And he's gonna engage in a brawl in the first round with Ibo Aslan. He's gonna do some stupid shit, and it's gonna get him KO'd. And yeah, Ion Cutelaba, maybe he could like drag some stuff out. Maybe he could like slow down the pace a little bit and bring it to like a decision where he can like win, but I don't know, man. He's just not smart enough for that. His fight IQ is so terrible. Like he's such a stupid fighter. Like he's so retarded. I just think his retardedness is what's gonna get him KO'd by Ibo Aslan. So yeah, I'm gonna take Ibo Aslan by first round TKO. Let's move on to the next fight. Alonzo Menafield versus Julius Walker. I'm gonna have to go with Alonzo Menafield by first round TKO. We just don't know anything about Julius Walker, or at least I don't know anything about Julius Walker. Maybe one of you guys are like, well, actually, Julius Walker is a fucking menace. This guy fucking beats Peloton. But no, I'm gonna have to go with Alonzo Menafield. Julius Walker doesn't even have a photo on the UFC page yet that I could use. I literally had to use like it. If you go to like his UFC page thing, maybe he has one now. But at the time of recording this video, he doesn't have a picture on the UFC page. It's just a blacked out silhouette. He looks like fucking Alonzo Menafield's shadow, which is kind of funny. But yeah, I'm gonna have to go with Menafield. He's got power. You look at him and you think, man, this guy looks like he has one round of cardio. He's freaking jacked, and he's got like all these, fast KOs. This guy definitely runs out of stamina. He actually has kind of pretty good cardio, and he has a ground game too. He has the ability to submit you. He's weirdly well rounded, but like the same thing as Ion Cutelaba. This guy's fucking stupid. So I could very much see him just getting chinned. But like I don't know. I think he's better than Ion Cutelaba skill wise. He's actually pretty good. He's just retarded. So yeah, maybe he just brawls and gets slept. But no, I think he is gonna put Julius Walker to sleep in the first round. The experience again, a lot more UFC experience, and his losses aren't like actually horrible. They aren't like amazing, but he's not losing to complete garbage cans. So yeah, give me Alonzo Menafield. Let's move on to the next fight. Gene Silva versus Melsik Bagdasaryan. There are actually people on YouTube, predictors on YouTube, that are trying to convince the public that Melsik Bagdasaryan has a chance to win this. I'm here to tell you right now, we don't care. Gene Silva is winning this. This is the easiest pick of the card. Melsik Bagdasaryan is not ready for the Gene Silva beatdown. If Gene Silva somehow finds a way to lose this, all of the fighting nerds' aura and plot armor is gone. Every single one of them loses their aura. Kaio, aura gone. Rufy, aura gone. Carlos Prates, all of his aura's gone. Melsik Bagdasaryan is gonna fucking consume all of their aura, like fucking Thanos getting all the Infinity Stones and snapping. But yeah, I'm going Gene Silva by third round TKO. I think Melsik will have like moments where he looks like technical. He is a technical good striker, but he's just not gonna be enough to beat Gene Silva. He just isn't. Like Gene Silva can even take this to the ground and dominate there if he wants to. I just think Gene Silva's going to beat this guy up. This is a lock for me. And if you're picking against Gene Silva, you got it wrong. I'm just here to tell you right now. Might as well pick this off already. Might as well cross this off as correct already. Um, Gene Silva's not losing. If he does, then I don't know what to tell you. Mauricio Rufy's losing to Bobby Green, and Carlos Prates is losing to Jeff Neal. Yeah, let's move on to the next fight though. Taking Gene Silva. Rob Font versus Gene Matsumoto. Why is Rob Font the underdog? Give me Rob Font by decision. This is going to be a pretty easy fight for Rob Font. Maybe. I don't know. Gene Matsumoto is good, but he lacks experience. He's super young. He's undefeated, 16-0, very pretty record, but that record can only take you so far. And Rob Font is a huge jump up from fucking Brad Katona. Like, are we serious? And that Brad Katona fight was competitive. Brad Katona was beating him up on the feet. He had moments. He was damaging Matsumoto. Rob Font is going to smoke this dude on the feet. And I don't think Matsumoto's grappling is dominant enough to where he can just take Rob Font down and bully him there. I don't think he's going to be able to do that. And, like, dude, Rob Font, he's just, like, the greatest fraud checker of all time. Like, Adrian Yanez couldn't get past him. Kyler Phillips couldn't get past him. Ricky Simone back in the day lost to him, like, when he was on a bit of a streak. Actually, I think he lost to Faber before Font, but still, my point stands. This is when Ricky Simone was still seen as like, a promising guy. One of these guys are going to get past Rob Font, but I don't think it's going to be Gene Matsumoto. I think Rob Font gets this one done. Stick to a nice jab, a nice right hand. He's just the better fighter. This is just way too big of a jump up. Like it honestly is. Gene Matsumoto has not looked crazy good in his UFC performances. Like against Brad Katona, that was competitive. And Brad Katona is not that great. Definitely not Rob Font level. So yeah, I'm gonna have to go Rob Font in this one. Yeah, let's move on to the next fight. Brendan Allen versus Anthony Hernandez. I'm going with Anthony Hernandez via a 30-27 decision. I could honestly see a late finish as well. This is going to be a lock for me. I think Hernandez is the clear pick here. And dude, I don't know why. For some reason, when this fight first got announced, I was leaning Brendan Allen. Like for some reason, for some dumb reason, I was thinking like, oh, Brendan Allen's, I feel like Brendan Allen could maybe, stuff some of the takedowns early and kind of out technique Anthony Hernandez, maybe win the first 2 rounds. And then I thought about it and I'm like, nah, dude. Brendan Allen like does not have the cardio to keep up with Anthony Hernandez's pace. He gassed out against Nasruddin Imavov, and Imavov was out grappling him in round 2 and 3. Anthony Hernandez is going to smoke this guy. And on the feet, like I say out technique him, he's only like slightly better than Hernandez on the feet, technical wise. But like even then Hernandez has more power on the feet. He's more unorthodox, he throws more weird shit. He has better cardio, he's gonna be able to stand for longer. He has more output than Brendan Allen. And I don't know. I just think Anthony Hernandez is a terrible style. I don't see him getting submitted, and I just think he's going to be able to take Brendan Allen down at will, control him. If Brendan Allen gets him down, then Anthony Hernandez is just going to end up on top like he always does, and it's just going to be another Anthony Hernandez freaking domination on the ground where he just takes you down multiple times, drowns you, smothers you with ground and pound, and just beats you up, dude. The Michel Pereira, like, listen, I know Michel Pereira has no cardio, but he was drowning and bullying Michel Pereira. He had like 6 times his significant strikes. I think this is going to be a clean sweep for Anthony Hernandez. He's very good. I think he beats a lot of top guys in this division. And after he cleans up Brendan Allen, maybe we get like an Anthony Hernandez versus an Adesanya. That'd be a very interesting fight. I think Hernandez wins that. But yeah, Anthony Hernandez is a lock for me. Let's move on to the main event. Henry Cejudo versus Song Yadong, the main event. People are overcomplicating this fight. I'm going Song Yadong by decision. Henry Cejudo is not going to win this. His wrestling has his wrestling ever really been that dominant? Like, no, I don't think it has. Like against the higher level guys, his wrestling has never been that elite. Like, I'm not even gonna lie to you. I don't see him just taking down Song Yadong, holding him down, and just doing that consistently for 5 rounds. Song Yadong has really good cardio on the feet, he's going to be like way faster, way more dangerous, way better technically than Henry Cejudo. There's going to be a night and day difference on the feet. And if he does take Song Yadong down, Song Yadong, I could just see him exploding back up immediately and like landing some good stuff in the clinch. And honestly, hot take, I could see Song Yadong even taking down Henry Cejudo, getting like an inside trip or something. If Cejudo goes for a body kick and Yadong catches it and trips him, kind of like I think he did that to Corey Sandhagen. Very impressive performance. Obviously he lost to Sandhagen, but dude, that's another thing. Song Yadong, yeah, he's losing to like these top elite guys. Like he had a close, razor close decision with Peter Yan, and fucking the Corey Sandhagen fight. I'm pretty sure there was like a head clash that caused like a really bad cut. You take that head clash away, it's 2-2 going into the fifth. Song Yadong could have won that if that head clash didn't happen. Song Yadong is elite, and he's only 27 years old. He's going to be getting better every single fight. Every single time we see Song Yadong, he's going to be getting better. He's just barely hitting his prime. You could argue he's not even in his prime yet. You could argue he might not even be his prime for the next 2, 3 years. This isn't even the best version of Song Yadong that we're seeing. And Henry Cejudo, man, he's 38 years old in a young man's division, and like, I just don't think Henry Cejudo can get it done. I just don't. I just don't think so. I don't see Henry Cejudo winning this. I don't know. His wrestling has never really impressed me that much. Like, obviously it's good. Obviously he's a very, very high level wrestler, but like, it's not dominant. Like, yes, it's good. He's a good technical wrestler, but like, when's the last time you just seen him take somebody down and smother them and just like maul them on the ground? He got out wrestled by Marab in his last fight, out wrestled by Aljamain Sterling before that, and then in his fights before that, he hasn't really shown the wrestling. He's more shown the striking. Like, yeah, he knocked out Dominic Cruz coming off of a 4-year layoff as an old man. Cool. He knocked out TJ Dillashaw, who was a skeleton with no roids. Cool. And he knocked out Marlon Moraes in 3 rounds. I'm pretty sure my grandmother knocked out Marlon Moraes the other day. Like, and the fact that Henry Cejudo took the longest to knock out Marlon Moraes. Out of all of Marlon Moraes' knockout losses, Henry Cejudo took the longest to KO him. Like, are we serious right now? And like, the last time he really showed wrestling against somebody and like won the fight with the wrestling, I say won because I'm about to bring up a robbery. Demetrius Johnson too, the rematch, his second fight with DJ. That was a robbery. He did not win that. Yes, he out wrestled DJ, but like, DJ's not the best defensive wrestler. He's a jiu-jitsu guy. Like, Come on. Henry Cejudo's wrestling is good. It's not dominant. Like, I'm sorry, it just isn't. I'm going with Song Yadong. He's going to be able to explode from any takedowns. He's going to be able, anytime he gets taken down, he's exploding right back up. And he's going to defend most of the takedowns anyways. And he's going to light up Henry Cejudo on the feet. Henry Cejudo's a midget. He has short arms, and he has one of the most overrated legacies in the entire sport. Song Yadong is 27. 27 years old, not even in his prime yet. He's going to be hitting his prime in like the next couple of years. He's going to continue to improve each fight. And he's already having close ass fights with Peter Yan and Corey Sandhagen. Do you think current Henry Cejudo is having a close fight with either of those guys? No. I'm picking both of them to beat Henry Cejudo comfortably. And you're telling me Song Yadong is not even in his prime yet? Having close ass fights with them? Continuing to evolve? This is going to be probably the best version of Song Yadong yet. 27 years old. He has like nearly double the fight experience of Henry Cejudo. And Henry Cejudo is like 10 years older than him, 11 years older than him. And Song Yadong has like 10 or 11 more professional fights. Like, come on, man. Henry Cejudo has such an overrated UFC legacy. And people want to talk about, oh, Henry Cejudo has the 5 round experience. Song Yadong arguably has more 5 round experience than Henry Cejudo. He's been past the 3rd round more than Henry Cejudo has. Like, you can go look up the stats yourself. Like, Song Yadong is a more experienced fighter than Henry Cejudo. Not at the championship level. He's never fought for a belt, but he's fought a top 5 fighter in Corey Sandhagen, a former champion in Peter Yan, and he's looked great against both of those. So, I don't really think the championship experience of Henry Cejudo is going to mean that much. And 5 round experience, Song Yadong has just as much 5 round experience as Henry Cejudo. He's looked great in 5 rounders. His cardio is perfectly fine. But yeah, that is going to do it for this prediction video. Hopefully you guys did enjoy. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. I'd love to read and reply to some of your takes. And yeah, see you guys in the next one. Peace.